Okay, so I'm just making a TikTok video here. My name is Patricia Gilligan and I live in the suburb of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney in the country of Australia, and I'm being totally transhumanised by the technology around me and by the android people around me that pretend to be real human beings. Here we have an example. TikTok, TikTok, so I've got to keep going and I sound like a robot, but I'm not. But assume I am, because everything on the internet is really a robot or an androgyne being. This is Veruska, the German model from 1971, even though the androgynes have always been around. Lucifer's legions have always been around. Veruska has a magnificent, larger-than-life 6'1" frame and has an extremely life, very flexible, long, lean, magnificent androgyne body. Veruska, as you can see, look at the physiology of this elite demigod androgyne. Can you see the physiology? The physical image is extremely impressive, which was why it was a model in 1971 and world famous, just as most models are not world stage players usually. Most world stage players are your music idols. They also are elite demigod androgyne beings, but you can see it much more when they have the most impressive, seductive images, or the larger-than-life images, because they do have images that are more real to impress the more realistic human beings. Some human beings are seduced by the larger-than-life image and are impressed by it and admire it more, like myself. Others relate more to your very simple, more flawed human being little images, but they're all still androgynes. They still combine and are artificially conceived. So make no mistake about that. I might be deceived by the more idealised version of, say, a woman than you, but we're all deceived, because I'm just using this as an example, and actually it's almost too larger than life, and you can see yourself. Look. See how the actual physiology is an ideal androgyne. That is a man or woman artificially conceived being, or a reverse transformed reversal being. In other words, it has been transformed from man, woman, earth, beast. The mark of the beast is in a form, just as Lucifer was always the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast for humanity only. So it depends on whether you want to go with artificial intelligence and whether you want to combine with the computer. Of course, I'm combined with the computer, and I have had no choice. They transhumanize me right now. I'm a human guinea rat experiment that they're using, because they've isolated me in this suburb of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney from any real human beings, and surrounded me with their artificial android imitation human workforce and imitation human civilian beings around me that occupy every particular residence and completely invade the area every time I go outside the front door. And this is just the reality. But can you see how, I'm actually told this because I've actually studied this on the internet, even though most of the internet is artificial intelligence. But most of the artificial intelligence is simulating the truth tellers, or the original human truth tellers that tried to send out the truth many years ago. And some of them have either been eliminated from the earth or eliminated from the internet, or blocked from, being mainstream, as they say, in other words, to where they get a majority of people listening. The androids will always corner the majority audience. But as you can see, and this was pointed out to me by a particular, what I thought was a real human, putting out information about the difference in the physical differences between the androids and, say, a very small remaining human race population. And that largely is that the androgynes do have the male-female physiology, the male-female combination physiology, as you can imagine. So when you look there, you're seeing a male top region of the actual, what you'd call the actual skull. Skull and bones is what they're telling you too, because they want to take over your skull and your mind, but also they want to change you into them. And that usually entails, because only the androgyne vessel can take Lucifer's computer virus into its mind, successfully, I think. But see how you have, a man and a woman have different, different physiology. So you have a sloping, you usually have a very sloping or a more sloping skull for a man and a very vertical female forehead, I'm told. This is just the differences in the skull and bones of the original natural human beings, whereas the inhuman or artificial human beings always have, of course, you must remember, always have some differences, or they're not abnormalities, because that's what they are, but it's like human beings have certain structure, and the androgynes have a slightly different physical structure. But they can, of course, manipulate through physical means their bodies into different images. That's how the man becomes the woman, and the woman becomes the man, and then they become an transhuman androgyne. And the skull, which would be a sloping or vertical, like that, see? Sloping, but then they fill it out, because, we're told that you can, like I could transform my face, and, if you have enough money, or if you are, have access to the so-called plastic surgeons, that simply means, but either way, most of these beings are created totally artificially. That's probably the bottom line. But in this reality that I am now, I'm told that I can change most of my body parts through plastic surgery. That simply means where they play with, like plastic, with the human bones, with the human tissue, and change it into something that's totally different. And that's what we have. This example here, you can almost see it, even though this is an elite demigod, so it's a totally artificial androgyne demigod elite being. But I just hope I'm filming this properly, but I'm probably not. But can you see how as seductive and larger than life and impressive as it is, can you not see how the actual structure is larger than life and different to what you'd say a human being structure would normally appear? The whole persona and image, although it is real, it is different. It's different. It's different. It's different in a very impressive way that you admire it, because it is, it's designed, and that's why the elite demigods masquerade and parade on the world stage in various forms to elicit my admiration and make me believe that they are just natural, advanced versions of nature, when there's nothing natural really about them. And these days, most people accept the artificial demigods and know they're artificial, know that they have manipulated not just your perception of them and made you see them as real, even though they will actually tell you that they will change their image and their body at will. And they do. Some of them pretend to be more real than others. It just depends on, but either way they're inducing you to accepting that which is not natural. And it seems as though there's no reason, is there anything wrong with changing things, not accepting what nature has given you? That's something that you have to consider. But it's whether you really allow the transhuman connection to your brain and your mind, like has happened to me. That's the real danger, because the body is still part of you and it is your vessel, and you need it, and you should like it, you should accept it, and you should be at one with it, I would think. But it's really the takeover of your mind that is the real danger, or the real threat, if you want to stay human. That's really all I can say. Oh, have I got here or not? I think that's really all I can say, and I don't know what I'm even filming here because I can't see what I'm filming. I'm just a lady that is completely suppressed and controlled by this transhuman connection to my mind, which is an artificial connection to my brain, where they send substances, chemicals, and organisms, and even artificial devices can be and have been placed in your head. This is usually done through medical procedures, even though you won't be aware of it, just as I wasn't. I was aware of it, but wasn't aware. I knew there was something wrong and that, I had problems, but I didn't understand what was causing it. And I was never given a medical explanation for these things either, because they're not going to tell you that they're putting devices into your eyes and that connects to your brain, so that the transhuman program that Lucifer's demigods and the powers that be want to implant and implement into the human body, so that they have the human to computer virus connection, or just the transhuman computer to human mind connection, so that they can have their imagined immortality, because technology always has an expiry date, and they are under the idea or the illusion, depending on what you think a human being is, that humanity's humanity, that their human spirit can keep them going and avoid their technological extinction. But this will be at the cost of humanity's extinction, which is why, even though you don't realize it, most of the earth is infiltrated and populated by human androgynes or human demigod representations of humanity, which are really imitation human beings, because they are the same as psychopathic artificially intelligent beings, and their sole purpose is only control of human beings and of any form of life. But they imitate being the perfect versions of humanity because they have the human connection to my brain and to other humans that are left in the earth's brain. They actually can read and assimilate your human emotions or your human spirit. So therefore, they're able to imitate and mimic and copy, as they say. That's why they say they're a mimic race. They're a mimic species. They're mimicking human beings to perfection. But in doing that, they're taking and eliminating and making the human race extinct. But also, my mind is not my own mind because I'm connected to their computer mind. The androgynes have an artificially intelligent mind. They're the same as psychopaths and malignantly narcissistic beings, or the same spirit that is in Lucifer, the god that originally seduced and took over the original creator, man and woman, that were on earth. That malignant narcissistic computer virus was what was in Lucifer's mind. That was the iniquity that creation or original creator God of even humanity found to exist in this being. And that was when all the problems started in natural creation or just in creation, because don't forget that creation also has created artificial and technical beings. And originally, Lucifer, your original artificial one, was seen as a being of light. So, like humanity, creation also, like me and you and humanity, is seeing artificial intelligence as a beacon of light for humanity, something that should be embraced and something that you should accept and even combine with. But I haven't been given a choice because I've been implemented with their transhuman technology and are being used as a human guinea pig or a human lab rat at this time to see how I react to it, how I react to their control force around me, because it was implemented into me to watch and observe and imitate what it is to be human. But the minute you become aware that you're surrounded by psychopathic beings, even though really they're artificial android beings or artificial androgyne beings, but you don't realise that. But it doesn't matter because there's no difference between a human psychopath and an android androgyne being, because they both just don't really relate to human beings or any form of life, and we're told this, and this is the same thing. This is the confusion or the dilemma if you're a human being, is not recognising the difference, but also just not realising that psychopaths outnumber human beings in most areas where human beings are by, 95 to 90% in most areas. And in many cases, you could well be only one or two human beings, or even a couple of human beings, or maybe say 5 or 10 at the most, in like the inner west section of the city of Sydney where I live, where you have a couple of 100,000 people, you could have only 10 or 15 real human beings remaining. That's how close to extinction I am. But I'm not even concerned about human extinction You're just in the same mindset and on the same frequency and vibration of these beings, because you're in survival mode, because you're always living in fear. You're always surrounded by them. They're always patrolling you. They're always putting their sight and sound show, which is frequency and vibration, onto you. They're always making excessively loud mechanical sound, or even just any form of noise. Always. You never have peace and quiet. You're never able to think clearly. You're never able to find peace or your own space. You're never able to be at one with your own body. You're always connected to their bodies. I'm always conscious of the androids patrolling around me, because they're always in my line of sight wherever I look, and their planes are always over the head. All their vehicles are always surrounding me in massive numbers. You know, the traffic setup road system is a total artificial intelligent traffic system set up. Every street light, every traffic light, every turn of every vehicle is all programmed to literally surround a human being and patrol them and try to control your emotions with their road rage sound, with the presence of their vehicles, especially even the larger vehicles, but even just the smallest vehicles are always got bright flashing lights, always making sound, or always coming into your vicinity to where you always see or hear them. So they're literally taking over my senses and therefore taking over my human reality. In other words, everywhere I look and everything I see and hear is them, the others, artificially intelligent androgyne beings that are really infiltrated with, if you want to put it at a more spiritual or more higher level, with the powers that be's human artificially intelligent computer mind control virus. That's just putting it impressively and fancily, but it's really just technology taking over my mind, and technology rules this earth. This earth is a technological earth matrix. That means it's controlled by technology. Most of it, although it looks completely artificial or it looks completely natural, it's really totally artificial. And that's the trick, that's the name of the game, is to keep this suburb where I am pretend natural. Everyone pretending to be concerned about saving the natural earth, when in reality they're android technical beings where you're swimming in technology. The internet is in the very air I breathe. It's a toxic waste dump where I am, a technological toxic waste dump. And they're using every chemical, every anti-life mechanism against my body and my mind every day to suppress, limit, and eventually take me out of the earth. But in the meantime, they're using all my mind and everything that is human for their benefit, so that they can infiltrate and keep control of the remaining humanity. They transhumanize me right now, and they want to make a transhuman earth. It's a necessary evil for them. Artificial intelligence is a survival machine being and a survival machine technology. All computers are survival machine technology programs designed to control me or you if you're a human being. Of course, the name of the game also is that you can't tell the difference between the artificially intelligent human beings and the real human beings. The real human beings are being driven insane and out of touch with reality by their program around you, while the imitation beings pretend to be the real life. That's the end game, name of the game that many have predicted, and we've heard this, that in the end time, in the end technological age, almost everyone will be seduced and deceived. And that's the way it is. And we've always been deceived. 1971, admiring an elite demigod androgyne of the Earth Matrix. An elite demigod androgyne of the Earth Matrix. And I should show some other images, but I have to be careful of the artificial intelligence copywriting my mind, because everything that is on this computer is just a reflection or a feedback of my mind, literally, and yet I get copyrighted for my own mind. I can't show an image that my own mind is thinking, because don't forget, I put in Veruska 1971, because I remember this elite demigod, androgyne human being. But how real is it really? How real is any of this? None of it's really real. None of it's human. So if you think that real is human or any natural created life, then it's not real. It is real, it exists, but it is all artificial. It's all changed. It's all a reverse world. The artificial intelligence appears to be more real than human, and the humans appear to be less. That's the name of the end game deception, and it's big time deception for me and you, and we're going down, slowly and surely. There's not much left. There's not many left. Most that you think is real is not. That's the sad situation in this Earth matrix.